What is up, YouTube? It's so good to see you all again, and all the people that have recently subscribed after that last serving episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, since you like that serving video so much, I thought I'd show you a simple second serving technique as well. Little disclaimer, this one's not as simple as the first serves. First serve's a little easier because you can just hit straight through. The second serve, you need to add a little bit of spin to it. Let me show you how it's done. Now, before we go any further, let me actually describe what the second serve is and should be doing for you. The second serve is not where you want to give 3 points away. If you miss your second serve, your opponent gets the point straight away. There's no third chance. So you want to make sure you get your second serve in as much as you possibly can. And that's what I'm here to help you with in today's lesson. To get it in more is about getting more height over the net. Now, because you're working with a little bit more margin and height over the net, you want to make sure you're adding a little bit more spin to make sure that ball dips in. So top spin makes the ball drop in. Or a kick serve, what that's going to do is have a little bit more of a diagonal spin, so when it hits the ground, it's going to kick off to the right as a right-handed player or kick off to the left as a left-handed player. If your kick serve as a right-handed player is going off to the left, that is a slice. If you're a left-handed player and your kick serve is going to the right, that is also a slice. So just remember, the kick will always go in your dominant direction. So right-handed player, kicks go right, left-handed player's kick goes left. With this simple serving technique today, we're working on the very basics of it. We're not going into any fancy diagonal kick serve actions. We're just working on the 6 to 12, getting under and brushing up the back of the ball and getting in as much as we possibly can. Now let's check out the technique. Now, if you are finding that you are slicing all the time for your second serve, because this happens so much, especially in the women's game, because they don't have the sort of strength that a guy has in their upper body, shoulders and wrists in particular. Now, what you need to make sure you do to avoid slicing is don't rotate your upper body too early. If you turn facing forward too soon, it's going to end up being a slice. So look at the string face as I turn. As soon as I start rotating forward, my strings are on the side. So as a kick serve, we want to be on this side brushing 6 to 12. If I rotate forward, all of a sudden my strings are angled on the side facing to my left. So when I hit the ball, it's going to slice instead of brushing up the back. You want to be brushing up the back of the ball, not on the side of the ball. That way you can get good height out of your kick to get it go up and in. Whereas with the slice, you're on the side of the ball to make it go off to the side away from your opponent. As always, the first thing we need to check before we get going with any technique is the grip, and make sure we got the right grip. So with the serve, there's only really one grip. You can alter slightly for the second serve, but we're going to keep it very basic and stick with the hammer grip or continental or neutral grip for the serve. This is where you have got the webby bit in between your thumb and index knuckle, right down bezel number 1. Okay, so right on the side edge of the racket, straight on the top just as so. That way you can have good flicking action and good spin and versatility with this action of the serve. Now, for this simple second serve action, I'm going to start by standing quite close to the net. The reason for this is to help me feel better. I just want to make sure I know I can get the ball over the net to start with. That's all it's really for, standing this close. Otherwise, you can do this from the baseline. Right now, your goal is not to get it in. Right now, the first part of this action is actually working on getting down low and brushing up the back of the ball. A very simple and basic activity that you can do at home. Definitely don't do this inside if you got glass or any fragile things around. I will not be held responsible if anything breaks. The activity you can do is ball flat on your palm, just as so. Then you're going to sandwich it with your racket, and all you're going to do then is just brush it upwards. Now, as you might have noticed just then, the ball went absolutely nowhere. It just went straight up and back down again, which is exactly what I want you to do with this first part of the activity. Remember, you have to learn to crawl, walk, then run. Don't go straight to running because you're going to trip over and fall. Now let's just say we've done that quite a few times. We've worked on rolling up the back of the ball and stopping at the top here. Very important there, I should mention that again, is make sure you roll and you stop at the top. Don't come around just yet. This next progression, we can talk about getting through the ball a little bit more. So we're working on brushing, and then the racket comes through pronating. So the way you should finish now is, if you're doing this correctly, your strings will face out to the right side for a right-handed player, or if you're a left-handed player, your strings will then come up and face off to the left-hand side of the court. When you do this, again, remember, we're not trying to get the ball to go in the right spot. You can, but focus on this first part here of rolling up, pronating forward. I'll show you again, as simple as rolling up, pronating forward, rolling up, pronating forward. 1, 2. As you get better at this, you want to make it one fluid motion. So you may have noticed in my last attempt there that I did it in 2. 1, 2. And that's okay to help you get used to the motion and get used to what you should be doing, but make sure you do it in one fluid motion as you're getting better and you're finding that wrist motion and mobility. With the technique here, we're about now dropping down our back. So this is the preparation. We don't need to do a big whole swing here. We're just working on dropping down our back. You may hear some coaches tell you to scratch your back or touch your bum to try and get that brush up the back of the ball. All I'm asking you to do is make sure your strings are just behind your head, okay? They can be resting just behind your head, but not actually touching your head. Don't be silly. Then what you're going to be doing is throwing the ball. This is where it gets a little tricky. Your ball wants to be a little bit more behind you. For this first activity, you don't need to throw it too high. Yes, your contact point should be high when you do it properly, but for this first part of the activity, it just needs to be back above your head so you can roll your racket up, just as we were doing those first activities, rolling up the back of the ball. Now, I know we progressed onto pronating, but we need to walk again. We need to go back to walking before we can sprint. Remember, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. So what we're going to do, we're going to start behind our head, ball toss goes slightly behind, and I'm just going to brush up. You'll note I'm stopping there with my racket. This is very important so that I can look and I'm going to check out where my strings are facing. Right now, they're facing directly forward to the court or to you guys. So I know that I've done the right thing there. I've gone 6 straight up to 12 with the action and stopped there, because that's all I need to do to learn the brushing up the back of the ball. This is where it's going to give you the good spin and the good height to make sure you get over the net and back in again. The next part of this action is help you get through the ball, so you get a little bit more depth rather than it just sinking and going nowhere. The next part now is where we're going to pronate. As we did in the early activity where we brush up and pronate in one action, we're going to do the same. So same ball toss, just above the head, racket starting behind the head, brushing up, pronating all in one action. So you'll note again, my strings are facing off to the side as I'm a right-handed player to my right side. Okay, that ball toss was a little behind me, but anyway, I'm stopping where I finish and my strings are facing to my right side. So I know I've pronated. I've come up the back of the ball and I've come forward through the action with my wrist or my racket, and I'm finishing looking at my strings facing to the right side. Now, if you're a left-handed player, same action. Behind the head, brush up, pronate, strings facing off to the left side of the court. Now, if you've done that, you've done the right thing. If it's starting to go a little too low and coming down too much and not going deep and not really going up out of your strings, then just angle your wrist a little more up. That's all you need to do. Do not change your grip, because then you're going to be doing the wrong things and you're probably not going to find the good consistency on the serve if you change your grip around. As you get better with this action, you can start to move back and further back and further back and start to control it where you need it to go. Now, you may notice that it might go right or left. Now, if you're working on the pronation properly, as a right-handed player, you may find it actually go a little too much to your right side of the court. So if you're on the advantage side of the court, you might find it a lot easier to get the kick serve off to the right. If you're on the juice side, you might find it a little harder to get it to go to the left. It's all about getting the ball toss in the right spot and your timing to get it to go in the right area of the court. As a right-handed player, if I'm brushing up and pronating, I'm finding it's going a little too much to my right. So next time, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go further to my left. I'm gonna go way out to my left, that it goes out, okay? But this time it only just went out. That's what you need to do. You need to find your end zones to then find the middle. Now that I've made it all the way to the baseline, there's something I need to do a little bit more. It's increase my racket head speed. If I keep it a little slower at the moment, from back here, it's not really gonna go anywhere. It might be smooth and it might be really good, but it's not really gonna go anywhere. So we do wanna keep it smooth, but we need to increase the racket head speed coming up the back of the ball so we can get it to go over and in, hopefully. And there you have it. There's the second serve, brushing up and then pronating forward. Now, of course, there is another step where you come all the way around and finish properly, because you don't normally finish there. You never see the professionals finish there. But this is the simple and very basic second serve. Get this first part of the action right, then you can work on just coming around and finishing in front of you. That's the simple bit. This part here is the hard bit. If you stay focused too much about finishing all the way through down here, then you're not really getting the important bit up the top. So get the important bit up here and pronate through before you worry about finishing all the way in front of you here. Just walk before you run. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode on the simple second serve technique. Remember to put the practice in as frequently as you possibly can. Tennis is a muscle memory sport, and the more times you can remind your muscle of how to do the action and build the good feeling, the better you're going to get. If you have long periods without play and practice, so practice on a Monday and your next practice isn't until next Monday, then that's a whole week of no practice and your muscles to forget what we're working on. Don't get me wrong, your brain will probably remember, but your muscles will not. You need to build the good feeling and that good repetition over time and frequency. So practice as much as you possibly can. Let me know in the comments below if it's working for you, or if it's not working for you and you need more help. I'd be happy to make more videos on this, as the serve is one of my favorite things to work on. Don't forget to like and subscribe so I can catch you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.